All right, guys, how's it going? So I've been out and bought the. Well, that was a fucking stupid thing. Not supposed to swear within the first few seconds of a YouTube video. Cool. All right, guys, how's it going? So I have been out and bought you the Spanish football dailies today, but there's only one here, right? That's because the other two didn't really have anything in it, or in them. So I left them. I could tell you this quick story, right? I'm sat there, right? My mate's there, right? We're having a bit of he was having a bit of tortilla and bread, right? And I was having a coffee. And this Spanish guy comes up to me. He's never been in that. Well, I've never seen him in a cafe before. And my free papers are there, right? If you follow my social media, you'll see that I did buy all three. And he came up to me and he says, "Are these your papers?" And I said, "Yeah." And he looked at me again and he went, "They're yours?" And I went, "Yeah." The man, yeah, all right. So he started waffling on, and I said, "Look, lo siento, no hablo castellano," right? I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, right? So he looks a bit. Anyway, you wouldn't want to get into an argument with him. He looked a bit shifty. So he sort of he walked away, went down to the toilets in this place, right? He came back up and he walked up to my table and he went, "So you do not speak Spanish, but you're reading Spanish newspapers." He thought I was trying it on. Do you see what I mean? It was a little bit salty, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I says, traductor, I'm using my translator and mis amigos and that, you know what I mean? It was like a little drama. Anyway, he went, and he walked off. Oi! Next door neighbour's dog, not mine. So anyway, after I finished with the two I didn't need, I thought it might be in my best interest to give those papers to him. It reminded me of Nasty Nick off EastEnders years ago. You remember that? Nasty Nick. Anyway, so I went over and I said, "Finish now, mate. You can have them." "Oh, thank you." You know what I mean? Little drama, and I just want to read news for you guys. So, I got the three newspapers. I left two for him. I would have left those two in the cafe anyway. I like helping people. So what we'll skip to straight away is there's this article about Slot here, and it takes up quite a bit of the page. It's in the Pro Barcelona newspaper, Sports. Here we go. Where are we? Here we go. Do you see that? Oh, I don't know if you can see it or not. Basically, it says, "Slot the new nightmare for City." Slot the new nightmare for City. See, I brought that paper home just to show you that. Right, and it says, I'm going to read it to you exactly what it says, all right? The work of the Dutch coach is making people forget Jurgen Klopp, and Liverpool is once again the biggest threat to Pep Guardiola's team in their goal to retain the Premier League title this season. Every hero always needs a villain to give more epicness to their victories, and Pep Guardiola, manager of Manchester City, seems to have found a new antagonist after Jurgen Klopp's departure from the Premier League. The rivalry between the Catalan and the German, or rather between Manchester City and Liverpool, gave us thrilling moments over the last decade, and each season became an exciting battle to lift the league title. After Klopp's departure at the end of last season, everything pointed to Mikel Arteta, Arsenal's manager, taking over the role of the main threat to both Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. But there has been a stellar guest that no one expected. And I think that it's true, isn't it? None other than Arne Slot. The Dutch coach arrived last summer at Liverpool after leaving Feyenoord and has everything in his favour to make the Red fans fall in love with him. It was not an easy task to make people forget Klopp's successful era at Liverpool, but Slot has managed it, even though the season has just begun. With him on the bench, the Red team has maintained the essence of recent years and in turn has improved in some areas. Would you agree with that? Arne Slot's Liverpool is a very offensive team, dominating transitions like no one else and having the opposing goal as their main objective beyond the result. However, the arrival of the Dutch coach has given the team excellent defensive consistency. In the 8 matches played in the Premier League, the Anfield team has only conceded 3 goals. A United team that makes defensive efforts and gives absolutely nothing to their rival. All this has made Liverpool the current leader of the Premier League with 7 victories in 8 matches, just 1 point ahead of Man City and Pep Guardiola. Slot and Slot and Guardiola will meet on December the 1st when Reds and Citizens will face each other on match day 14 of the Premier League. Will Pep or Arne prevail in this duel that could certify the new nightmare for the Catalan coach? Catalan publication, Pro Barcelona paper there. So I thought that was a really good write-up, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because we're seeing what other leagues, other journalists, other fans maybe think of what's happening with Liverpool at the moment. And I take that as a really good article, not because it's bigging him up or anything, but because there's a lot of truth in this. Do you know what I mean? An acknowledgement. And Arne Slot has come in and taken on a very, very difficult job replacing Jurgen Klopp. I genuinely did not think that we would start like this, because you would, if you remember in the summer, we were like, what would we take? What would we accept? And most people were like, well, he needs to adapt and settle in. And so, the first year we can turn a blind eye a little bit. Fucking hell, I just can't believe the way we've started. And then, I don't know what you thought, but I was like, coming up to these games, I was like, well, let's see how he does against Chelsea. Let's see how he does against Arsenal. And I still think that. Obviously, taking care of Chelsea, but the Arsenal is the next one. I mean, seriously, guys, if we win against Arsenal, if we do Arsenal, man, I'm going to be like absolutely buzzing. Do you know what I mean? I think it's on then. Some people think it's on now. Maybe that is the right attitude to have. Be very positive. I'm not being negative. I'm just like, that would really do you know what I mean? I think if we'd have lost to Chelsea, I'd have thought, now we've come up against someone. Do you know what I mean, guys, by that? Anyway, it's a very interesting article, I thought, and I find it of interest that the Catalan press, the Pro Barcelona press, are discussing that, and obviously discussing, obviously because of the Guardiola thing, the Catalonia. But what I mean is, they're talking about Liverpool, right? And I don't usually see a lot of this over here. So it's rare, and I'm taking it. Now, with regards to Trent Alexander-Arnold, there is nothing in the 3 Spanish football dailies today regarding him. However, there is something that you could link to him, maybe. Okay, and this was in one of the newspapers that I left behind. Because there's no mention of Liverpool now, I didn't need to show you anything. The headline was Madrid seeks to restore order. Basically, Carlo Ancelotti plans to return to a successful strategy against Dortmund after a tactical mishap. The team needs a win to boost their Champions League standings. Ancelotti will avoid further experiments such as using 3 central defenders, which led to confusion. The team is focused on improving defence with available players like Milatu and Rudiger. Ancelotti emphasises the importance of adapting based on the available players and the need for a solid defensive strategy. The recent match in Vigo highlighted issues, with the defence, using a 3rd central defender. Ancelotti stresses the importance of Bellingham's contributions beyond just scoring goals as well in that article, because yesterday the Spanish press pointed out that he's nowhere near firing like he was last year. Pay attention, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Anyway, so some quotes from that article. We are focused on defending better. It's the key this season. We don't have players to play in tight spaces. A back and forth game suits us to take advantage of open spaces. Bellingham, his work is more important now than the goals he scored last year. And that is it, I think. Though there is a little bit more. But they're talking about the Celta game. What the Real Madrid coaching staff wants is for each player to focus on what they know within the collective effort, but prioritising what each one can do without complicating things. They're talking about the attacking players and also having to contribute to defending. And then there's like a little tag headline, Madrid is 17th in the Champions League. Madrid is in a situation where they need a win to move up in the standings. And then they talk about the defensive issues. Ancelotti neither recovers nor loses anyone for tonight's match. He still has the absences of Alaba, Carvajal and Brahim, who is trying to be ready for Saturday's Clásico. So the reason I'm telling you about that is that they're talking still about, the need, they're talking about the message at the moment continually is we need a new centre back and a right back. We need defensive reinforcements, and that article's kind of continuing to stress that. So I think it's important just to watch that to see if it, mentions Trent at some point, because as soon as I saw that article and worked out what it was about, I skimmed right through it looking for Trent Alexander-Arnold as being an option. But there's no reference to him or any other player though. But again, the emphasis is on Real Madrid needing to sort things out. Now, the next headline was Mestalla says enough. Now, the Mestalla is the home ground of Valencia, obviously where Mamardashvili currently plays. He's going to be the next number one at Liverpool Football Club. We all know that, providing he doesn't fuck up. And basically the sub-headline was Las Palmas leaves Valencia at the bottom after a comeback, and the fans explode. So the fans are going crazy. Valencia rock bottom of La Liga. I just thought I'd mention it because obviously that's our next goalkeeper. I saw him pull off a great save last night. I don't know if you saw it. Las Palmas arrived at the Mestalla as the bottom team and caused chaos in Valencia with unpredictable consequences. Diego Martinez's team managed to maintain the fiery atmosphere of the stands and the initial start of Valencia. However, it wasn't just about the atmosphere. Las Palmas played better with the ball and were superior in both areas. Mamardashvili is mentioned as having prevented a goal with a great save, showing his importance in the match. So, yeah, bottom of the table, but the goalkeeper is still, despite the current mood there, doing the business. All right. So I think that's your lot, to be honest with you. So I hope you found some of that useful. That's me done with this video. So if you appreciate the video, please do thumbs up the video. You can drop me a comment on this video if you've got anything you want to say about it. I think I covered the important topics. There was a lot more written about Real Madrid today and their defensive situations, but I don't see the point of reading everything to you. I just think that I want to just give you like a feel of what the Spanish media are saying. I know some people say, well, what does it matter what they're saying? It does matter what they're saying, because the amount of pressure that the media put out there, puts Perez, the president, and to go out there and find reinforcements. If the fans are kicking off and stuff like that, which there's no mention of that at the moment, then it does create a problem. So I think it does affect Trent's situation, I think. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's an urgency to find a right back in January, for example, then that would suggest that they will have to spend some money in January. And who's available in January? He would be available for a fee if Liverpool think that they can manage the second half without him and would rather lose him for some money than nothing at all. It would also be better for Trent Alexander-Arnold if he left the club with the club getting some money, because I think that if he leaves on a free, there's a real hardcore following, especially in the city, that wouldn't forgive him for that. You might not see it, I might not see it online or whatever, but I know how it works, and that's the one thing that people are like, what, you fucking left on a free when we could have got some, do you know what I mean? I know what I mean. So it could help him if he went there. There is no suggestion that he's looking for that move. I'm still not flapping, because I quite frankly don't care whether he goes or not. I mean, I would rather he stayed, don't get me wrong, but I've seen better players leave Liverpool, and I just don't know whether he's believing his own bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely think it would be a bad move for him to go to Real Madrid. They're already like turning things up against Bellingham, and he's fucking world class. I just think that, the mistakes he makes at Liverpool, we're more forgiving, we're more loyal, we're more supportive of Real Madrid. You go from being a superstar at Liverpool maybe to a number, and if they don't want you, you're fucking done. And it doesn't matter who it is, do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, we can talk about him forever. I'm still all right with everything. I'm not panicking. Perfectly good with the contract situation. If you were to ask me now what happens, I think all three will sign. I reserve the right to change my opinion, but I have a feeling all three will sign. But if Real Madrid do step up and show some urgency in that, I could also understand why you might think, let's give it a go, because Liverpool isn't, what's the word, as ambitious as Real Madrid. They're just not. They used to be, but they're not, because our existing owners are happy with the Champions League finish. They will not spend additional money to try and get first place, because you're spending more to win a little bit more, but you're eating into your potential profits, if that makes sense. So we looked at this recently, from finishing second, third, fourth, isn't a huge gap from finishing, isn't a huge difference from finishing first in terms of revenue. I don't mean prize money from the Premier League. We're talking about sponsorship deals, marketing. And don't forget, if you finish first, you have bonuses and more to pay out. The better players, you pay more wages. Do you know what I mean? And staff as well. So you wouldn't today, would you, spend an extra 200 quid in your household to make 50 quid, 70, 80 quid back? You'd be still down, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? You'd be like, it doesn't make sense. And that's FSG. And if you think about it, it's so obvious, right? So they'd love to win the league, but they ain't going to spend more or try more. They just want them Champions League places, because that's where the revenues are. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, waffling on. I hope you appreciate the video. Like I said, I did get all the papers for you. But fortunately, there was nothing in there about Trent. But I suspect that we will hear more about that. Well, I say later into October. I still think we'll hear more, especially when we get closer to that fixture next month. I imagine it'll be an absolute minefield with claims. If Liverpool had any sense about them, if you were Richard Hughes right now, Michael Edwards, however you want to think about it, what would make you look really good with Trent Alexander-Arnold? I know what you're thinking. You think, well, if he signs a new contract, absolutely. But when would be the best time to announce that? I might even do a video about that, because some people might not watch this. But when would be the best time to announce that? Christmas? New Year? Before the next transfer window? When the transfer window closes? When would be the best time? I would say the best time to announce it would be just before the Real Madrid fixture, if you pulled it off. Do you know what I mean? So, who knows? Who knows? But aren't you like me a little bit, where you go, do you know what, Duncan, I'm fucking sick of hearing about it now. He's staying you off. I think that, the message that I gave you through the summer and that is that they will drag it out as long as possible, his camp, to see if Real Madrid step up. And with that injury over there, it does change things somewhat. And they're obviously desperate to get a right back. But Perez doesn't like doing business in the winter window, hasn't done for 5 or 6 years or something, 5 years. And if he is going to do any business in the January window, expect it to be a bargain. That's what the Spanish press are saying. It would have to be an economical bonus or economically attractive. Trent Alexander-Arnold paying a nominal fee in January, I would say, falls into that category. So we're certainly not safe with regards with the situation, I think. But I honestly, guys, I don't give a fuck, to be honest. Right, I'll leave it with you. I'll be live on here at 2 o'clock this afternoon, UK time. And I'm going to do a stream tonight as well, I think. I don't know if I'll do it at 7 or 6. Usually it's 7. It depends what this afternoon stream, like. It's really important. On my morning briefing, I think this morning, I said, like, when is a good time for the streams for you? All you have to do is let me know. All right, guys, I'll leave it with you. And I will speak to you real soon, I hope. Thumbs up the video if you appreciate it. Drop me a comment if there's anything you want to say in relation to the content in this video. And if you want to buy me a coffee, so I can go back to the cafe tomorrow, get some coffee, and get some more newspapers for you, please support me via the super thanks button. I think it's got the love art underneath the videos. All right, guys, get in the chat room. The link is in the video description, as is the newsletter as well. Okay, you have a fantastic, as Brendan Rodgers would say, day.